Hi everyone, this is Bic Benedict, playing Ninja Gaiden 1 on very hard difficulty. This is the 10th of 16 chapters entitled Aquaduct. And we have a couple of Fiend Challenges in this level, one of which I won't be doing because it's a spot to get money, and I'll be going over that. This is a tough fight right here against these guys. None of these guys will break your guard. However, I'm always tempted to do parry attacks, and the X parry is actually really good to do on these guys, but I like a stronger parry. I like the Y parry, but that always lands me in a lot of trouble. When I come down on it, I get slashed, and these guys take away quite a bit of damage on you, so you may want to equip the Armlet of the Moon. If you don't want to fight the battle, you're not obligated to do so. See that? Right there, that was a perfect example of what I was talking about, coming off that Y parry, so definitely stick to the X parries, because he doesn't set himself up so high to get hit, because he just kicks the enemy away, and it's over with pretty soon. But the Y parry, even though it's pretty fast too, it's hard to recover from that. You've got to land and block immediately, and then parry again, or simply just block. But this is a long chapter. We're going to get a lot of weapons, and I would highly recommend that you get the Unlaboured Flawlessness. It's a very good weapon. It's optional, by the way, but you will need it for certain parts of this game. And it's a risk versus reward weapon. What happens is the weapon is very weak when you have a lot of health, but it's very strong when you have hardly any health or low health. What else is going on in this chapter? There's just a lot of golden scarabs to pick up, and I'll be getting them all. I'll be getting all the Life of the Gods. We have Pazu for the boss of this chapter, and he's pretty tough. But you don't want to finish the Fiend Challenge with the bugs. You just don't want to do it, because I was able to quickly get all the money needed to buy the Unlaboured Flawlessness. And I don't know how much it costs, but it's beyond 10,000, or excuse me, not 10,000, 100,000, because the maximum money you can carry is 99,999, which is one short of 100,000. So it costs more than that. Not much more, but I know it does cost more than that. Because there was a time in one of my campaigns, it was probably in Ninja Gaiden Black, when I hadn't done any upgrades to the wooden sword, and I had 99,999, and I still needed an upgrade. So it might be like 140,000 or something like that. So this fight you definitely want to finish, because once you clear these enemies, they'll never respawn unless you come back here, and unless you leave the Aqueduct and come back here. But as long as you're inside the Aqueduct, because we're going to be walking to and fro down this hall quite a bit, and you don't want these guys to bother you. These guys that reside behind the Key of the Insect Door, which is that one in the distance right there to the right, those ones, they never stop spawning. So fortunately we don't travel too many times in that area, but it is the only location where a store exists. And they added a store in the Hall of Balance for Sigma, and it was a really nice store. In fact, I really want to play Sigma again. I don't think I'll do a guide for it, but definitely want to. I miss the stores, and I miss how good that game looks. And I've got to say that Sigma is definitely my favorite. And somebody asked me actually today, will I make a guide for it? And I already made a guide for it. So if you don't, please, before you ask me to make a guide for something, just look at my playlists, and that'll save you the time of having to ask, and the time that it takes me to reply to that, which is not that much, but it's just kind of bothersome. especially if you're a sub for a while and you know you're not intimate with the playlist. You should be. So I believe this. I think this is a Spirit of the Devils. No, it's not. We do get a Spirit of the Devils right out of a chest in the room where the red tablet device is. So there may be a possibility in this game to get 6 flames in the key gauge, because we're shortly going to have 5. But to my memory, the Zarkon Fiend Challenge did give out a Spirit of the Devils, but it might be a case of me mixing, of this game just distributing the items in a different fashion, which is highly possible. So this Dabalachro right here, it's only at level 1. So the first upgrade is 10,000, and then the second one is 20,000. So it's a very costly weapon upgrade. But this is the best weapon to grind with on these guys here. This is a room where you make a lot of money, but not in this first fight. This first fight is just 50 of these guys, and you have to clear them before the door will lower and you can go back down the elevator. But every time you come back up here, though, you're going to be in the Fiend Challenge. And these guys will always spawn so long as you don't kill all of them, and there would be 100 of them. So each time you come up here and you're grinding for money, just hit the left bumper to pull up the karma screen, and just make sure you don't even approach 100, because you can kill these guys so fast. You can get like 5 of them in a couple hits. So I normally kill like 40 or 50 and then I just leave, because these guys are really dangerous. Plus, we can't do UTs here, so you're forced to, slaying a couple of guys and then going around the small room and charging an attack. This weapon works a lot better, but this strength of this weapon, strength 1, is not acceptable. It's just too weak. So I'm going to come back here with the Dabalachro at level 3 and grind for money. And that's actually what I did. So a little later in this video, you'll see that I have the Unlaboured Flawlessness unlocked. And don't be put off about having to go out of your way to make money. It's very easy and quick to do if you're doing it correctly. And when I say doing it correctly, it basically means you go in for a couple of strikes when you first get up here, and you want to kill 2 guys and then charge off attacks, collect the money. Don't expedite another charge with that money unless you're in a pinch or something. And then just repeat. Even if you have to drop Nimpo to kill some guys, so you'll have some essence to charge off of. It doesn't matter, because you can fight here indefinitely. On my other channel, actually, I have a playlist devoted to making money in this game on Sigma, but it applies to this game too. So I am now headed up to this room here. It's not the way that we're supposed to go, but I want to collect some items here. And we have this fight here. This fight's fairly tough because it's in such small quarters. However, once you kill these guys, though, they never respawn either. And I'm basically going in this room first just to get a couple of the items, one of which I learned was the Spirit of the Devils. So we'll have 5. And we're going to be fighting a Death Worm pretty soon. Or the Electric Worm. And without UTs, he's not even that hard, and I thought he would be. But it's just a matter of... I've just always been used to charging UTs on that guy. I would go in there with the Dabalachro. But this time... all I did basically was just use the Unlaboured Flawlessness, and I allowed myself to get hit a couple times so I can get it to low health. And then I took care of business. When I played this on the less harder mode, on hard mode, I was using the Vigorian Flails, and they worked really good actually, because they're so fast. But I wanted to experiment with the UF that I had just earned. So once when you hear me say UF from now on, I'm just using the abbreviation of the Unlaboured Flawlessness, because it's a kind of a tough word to keep saying over and over again, just due to how long it is of a word. And I don't know why it's called that. Maybe it means something else in Japanese, something more significant than in English, but you definitely want to turn the subtitles on to English too, and the sound to Spanish. I mean, not what the fuck am I talking about? You want to put the voice to Japanese, because this is a Japanese game. And if you don't do that, you're a big failure in my eyes. I'm just kidding about that, of course. So, I think this is a potion. Yeah, it's not a Life of the Gods. So, what we're supposed to do is go to the door with the insect insignia on it, but there's no reason that you can't go over here, because we're going to be coming back here anyway. And we're going to be fighting the worm. So among all of these confrontations here, like I believe after it was around this time, and of course you don't see me saved or anything like that. That's just because I'm editing this and I'm trying to save people time. Now these guys, I said I'm going to leave no head unsevered, but I'll be coming back here, and trust me, their heads are going to be severed pretty soon. So I'm going to equip the Armlet of the Sun to deal more damage with this thing, and here's the worm. Now he always starts off shooting, so all you need to do is a quick jump to either side at the last moment. Don't do an evade dodge, because that'll get you knocking off the wall on the other side. So this guy's very easy. Just check out what he's doing. Just evade that attack, and then normally he'll do the pulse attack where he does that. So get out of the way though, because sometimes he will go into snake form and slither over to this section of the platform. Also, when he goes limp and falls onto the concrete over here, he'll do it in a minute. It's blockable. It breaks your guard, but it does not hit you. So don't ever try to just avoid it. Always guard it, and then after your guard gets broken, just go in for some chops. See, the UF's not really doing too much damage here, so I'm going to have to let him hit me. And it's one of those rewards versus the risk. How much risk do you want to put out? And how many rewards do you want to reap? So you see right here, I'm just letting him hit me, because I know I can evade all his attacks. His attacks are very easy. So I'm just lightly jumping from one side of the screen to the other. I'm going to wait for him to go limp, or do that, get a chop there. And that's the move. See what I was saying? When you go in for a hit like that, he might do that move that he just did. So that was me rolling right there. That was a mistake, and I realized it was a mistake. So don't. I hate to do stuff on screen when I say otherwise in the commentary. And always just don't stand in the middle. That's what I would recommend, because he might slither out and try to grab you. And if he grabs you, you're going to be dead. So right there I did the Y chop, and I took a little bit more damage. And we're going to have to face two of these guys pretty soon, and it's a much harder battle, as you can well imagine. And I haven't quite decided what I'll be using there, but I'll figure it out for myself. So here's the art of the Inazuma, and that's our. I still have a Jewel of the Demon Seal in reserve. So what I'm going to do, rather than have the Inferno get to level 3 and have at the same time the Inazuma be to level 1, I'll just have both of these, the Inferno and the Inazuma, up to level 2. So I have at least two spells with fairly good efficacy, and I don't have, one at really high, one at max and one at minimum. And basically, when I'm talking about upgrades, I'm not referring to the wheels, the flame wheels, because that is not upgradable. And I'm really not referring to the Ice Storm either, because I don't care for that. I don't think it has any place in this game, hardly. So there's some items right there to get. There's the red tablet of the stream. There's a golden scarab for you. And then around this corner is going to be a Life of the Gods. So don't go to the right. We'll be coming from that direction later, and we'll kill those enemies. But our next goal is to go back to that room that had the key of the insect and the red tablet. So we're going to put that tablet in the pedestal and have it activate, which is basically going to drain the water from the lower room so we can collect the earth statue, I believe it is, or the water statue. I can't remember which one it is. But just do be aware though that after you put this down, you're going to have a confrontation, which you can just avoid. You can run from this, but I'm not a runner. I'm a fighter. And these guys are pretty much the same as the slashers. And obviously these guys are their predecessors. And it's hard to say why they're more difficult. They have the same moves pretty much. But I think they're a little bit more aggressive than those guys. See how they did that kick right there? And they also do that lunge attack with their arm to hit you. And I don't believe that the slashers teleported underground. I don't think they did. But I could be... Yeah, actually, I think they do that. My bad. So I'm gonna... I wanted to charge an essence attack, but off that. But there we go. This is what I wanted to do. So our next objective is to go to the room that's directly below us, and I'll show you where it is once we clear these last few guys. And then we'll be fighting some more worms. Okay, that guy's slain, and now like I said, we're gonna go fight those worms. 2 worms is a pretty tough battle, even you know, with the ability to do UTs, which we can't do in this game. So what do I use? I believe I use the dragon sword, which I have equipped now, and I also switched to the Vigorian flail at one point, but it doesn't really matter too much. I'm trying to assess where I'm located right now. This is more of a labyrinth than the actual labyrinth level in chapter 15. Much more. Okay, so it looks like I had to get that water statue first. Yeah, so we do need to get that to sort of act as another weight on the other side where the earth statue is going to be. But what I was saying a minute ago. And here's a useless item right here, unless you like to read stuff. But what I was saying, the worms will give you some free shots, but they always recede back into their holes very quickly. So it doesn't matter if you have a quick weapon like the flails, because the dragon sword does the same amount of damage with a good combo like XXY. Now these bats here, you can ignore them if you want to. I think I kill a couple of them. But, you know, you don't get any iframes on these flying bird flips either, so, like you did with the ghost fish. I actually like the ghost fish. I would rather the ghost fish were here because they drop Nimpo a lot more frequently than the bats. I don't think the bats... I don't think I've ever got a Nimpo drop from bats. So I'm going to get the golden scarab over here. You could get it later on. So the armlet I have equipped, I think I have the armlet of the sun equipped because, yeah, the armlet of the sun is on there. That's just because you have to avoid taking damage if you want to survive this battle, so I just said to myself, you know what, I'll take the hits if I can just get in more strong hits. So remember that attack right there, it does break your guard, but you can then evade and go in for strikes. Now, that attack that he did right there, when they grab you, you might want a Talisman of Rebirth, just in case that thing grabs you. So what you don't want to do is stay anywhere except the left and the right sides to where these guys can't get you, because that attack, when they go in for the grab, it happens if it'll grab you if you're in the middle of the screen, not if you're on the left and right sides. So, ooh, that was a very close call right there. But you saw, if you rewind that, you'll see where I was placed and how it would have been a lot better for me if I was to the left or to the right. So right there I got punished because I evaded and jumped, and you don't want to do that. So here they're giving you some free strikes, but they go back into their holes very quickly. So the best thing to do is to take one guy down, focus on killing one guy. So that's why I stay on the left more than I do the right. Yeah, also jumping into the water is not good, plus I always do it on accident too. What I actually did was I invested in a Talisman of Rebirth because I kept getting grabbed and instantly getting killed. I don't think it's an outright kill unless you don't have too much health. Like this amount of health right there, that would be a grab kill death. But if you have the amount of health I have now, you might survive a grab. Full health, definitely you'll survive a grab. But it's just ironic when you go get a Talisman of Rebirth, you don't end up needing it. So you see how I switched to the flail right there, and he receded back into his hole very quickly. And it might even have been less damage than using the Dragon Sword. It actually probably is, since the Dragon Sword is the stronger weapon. And this is a tough battle because you got to multitask. You've got to keep your eye on, which worm is doing what. Generally, you see how they're both firing that fireball right there? Normally that doesn't happen. Normally they don't do the same thing. And it works out really good for you as a player, because if they were both grabbing, if they were both shooting the projectiles, it would be a real big mess. But the game compensates. I think if one's firing and then the other starts to fire, one of them stops firing. I think it's programmed that way to make it more fair for the player. You could also shoot projectiles, but I really wouldn't mess around with doing that until you've slain one of the worms. And also, I forgot, the cremator move, you can cancel out of the cremator move if you stop pressing the X button, he will stop doing that cremator move, so you're not locked into that move. But although you need to, if you're seeing that you might get grabbed, you need to instantly stop it. So see how two guys are firing, and then one guy went back into his hole, and this guy's still firing. So that's what leads me to believe that they do separate moves all the time. And if I could just stay out of the water, the electrified water, I would be fine. So the guy on the right, he has a lot more hits left, but the guy on the left, he's almost nearing the point of death. So remember, block, guard break, going for the evade, and going for strikes. You get rewarded if you evade correctly. And right there, see, he's going to give me a few chops for free since I didn't get grabbed. And I think you fight 3 worms. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe not 3 worms. I think the 3 worms are on the missions. But we will face another worm. Here's the thing: in Ninja Gaiden Black, you face a worm in the caverns level, close by to where the fire dragon is. You'll face 2 of them, and I think they throw. I know they throw the. Excuse me, I'm lisping like crazy. They throw the fire rings that you need to jump through, and I think there were 2 worms there. But here in this game, there's 1 worm, unless they change it up on me when I get there. So I just need 1 more hit for this worm and he'll go down. And then it'll be really easy because I don't have to worry about looking at 2 worms the entire time. So let's see if that guy yields any essence. No, they don't give you any essence, so you can't chain an attack if you wanted to. But normally I would go for UTs with the Dabalakra on these guys, and it would be a pretty easy match. And I think I might even bust out, yeah, the projectiles. I knew I would. Yeah, the explosive arrows. Barely had enough time to get that shot off right there. But once they go back into the holes, you have enough time to aim and fire at these guys. And I think I do take off a lot of damage from these guys. Even though I missed a few shots right there, I was able to get in some hits. You know, instead of waiting to get my opportunity to hit, now I can just hit the guy whenever I want to with my arrows. And this really is a tough fight, I've got to admit. It's pretty tough. But when you get to this stage, it's very easy. It's just when there's two of them. Because it really does psych you out. When you first get in here and you have two worms, and you're trying to, you know, keep both eyes on those worms, it's tough. It really is. Also hate when I miss strikes like that. So block, going for some strikes. That was XX. That was XXYYY actually. That final Y from that combo, the XX triple Y combo, you do have quite a lot of recovery time after that move, so just bear that in mind. See, right there, you have to recover. So unless I know that I will have recovery time, I don't mess around with doing that move. So this guy's going to be dead pretty soon, but I've had to use quite a lot of healing items here. But this whole place is filled with items for you to get. A lot of items. Two of which are right here. One of which is a golden scarab, and I think this is a high potion. No, it's Life of the Gods. The next one is probably the high potion. So they really help you out over here. So that's 7 right there. We have 7 Life of the Gods, and there might be a new set after this one. I did say in a previous video that there's only 2 sets of Life of the Gods, but I might have been wrong about that, and I apologize if that's the case. And I think it is actually. I think I was wrong, and I'm actually glad I'm wrong about that. So over here, I think there's just some more bats. In Black and Sigma, you'd have the crawlers, the little bugs. So they've really got your back. See all these item drops, pickups to get. Now we're going to be fighting some more slasher enemies, the pink slashers. So what I was trying to do here was get some essence staggered so I could go in for a UT over here. And I don't think it worked out for me. Not the first one anyway. Or any of them. Oh, missed him. You gotta hate that. You really have to hate that. So going for the Y parry, follow that up with an Azuna drop here on this guy. Trying to get a blue orb. It's not an orb, is it? It's essence. I hate calling it an orb. Because it is orb-like in Sigma 2, and I think that's why I'm always calling it that. Okay, so I'm going to sacrifice that Nympho essence right here and do a charge. And unfortunately, it's only one kill with that. I mean, unless the guys are like standing right on top of each other, you're only going to get 1 kill with the Dragon Sword, which is regrettable because it's my go-to weapon. It's the funnest to use, and I think it's in the right hands, in the most capable hands, you could do a lot of destruction with it. Okay, so unfortunately that was the last guy, I believe, and I couldn't go for the charge. Now we're going to be doing a bit of rock climbing over here, and notice you don't have to jump on these, just press forward on the analog stick. This game is just so incredible the way it works. You do have to jump here. A box, I think this is another high potion, high Nympho potion. low potion. I find it easier to say high and low potion. You know, you guys know what I'm talking about. If it sounds stupid, oh well, it's just easier for me to say. And definitely go for that unlabored flawlessness. And I suppose there might be some people who feel it's cheap to use that weapon, but let's face it, it's not a cheap weapon to get. Very costly. And personally, I don't think it's a cheap weapon to use because you're putting yourself at a really great peril to get in strikes that actually count with it. Because, as you know, for it to have any hit damage validity, you've got to be low on health. So, whenever you're low on health in this game, you're in great peril. So, look at the Davalocro right here. It takes out almost all of these guys except for one. That was a lot of money right there. I've got the Armlet of Benediction equipped. And I don't think there's an Armlet of Celerity in this game either. So we're missing two armlets. They put two new armlets in the next game, and they removed one. They removed the Armlet of Tranquility, which gradually replenishes your health. And I'm actually looking forward to getting that if they distribute it in the same manner that they did on hard mode, which I doubt. But the ones I believe they put in Ninja Gaiden Black are the Armlet of Celerity and the Armlet of Potency, which increases your kick and throw damage. And I never really use that one, the Armlet of Potency, unless I'm going for. Well, I'll amend what I said there. Sometimes when I do fight the clones in Ninja Gaiden Black, I'll go in for the Armlet of Potency, have that equipped, and go for Azuna drops with the Unlabored Flawlessness, because the Unlabored Flawlessness, its Azuna drop is just like the Dragon Sword, although it is a little slower to actually make the combo happen because it's such a huge weapon. But it's not a heavy weapon. It's just kind of a large, awkward weapon. It's not as heavy as the Davalocro is. And I think this game you can feel the weight of the weapons when you're evading and stuff like that. I don't know how they managed to do that, but you actually do feel the weight of weapons. So these guys are pretty damn tough, I've got to admit. They're fast. They're really fast. And their hits, they really hurt. So you might want to focus on defense on these guys, always being defensive and using X counterattacks. Because although I get hit a lot coming off, you see the parry that I did right there? I don't think I've ever had recovery problems with that particular counterattack, but I don't think it does much at all, because sometimes you could sever and kill an enemy with the Y parry, but with the X parry, unless you're kicking them off a ledge or something to where they fall into a pit, I don't know that it works too well. But at least it's a means of getting them off your back quickly. So we had a course right there that was giving us incendiary shurikens, but no, there's no need to use them when you can just use a Y attack with the Davalocro. Now that particular barrier right there that I just smashed, you can't smash that with the Unlabored Flawlessness. It's not blunt enough to do that. So here, bats again. There's too many bats in this game. Way too many bats. And what they did in Ninja Gaiden Black is that a lot of these sections with bats, they just put ghost fish in here. And if you don't know how to deal with ghost fish, it can make your campaign a nightmare. But I know how to deal with them now very well. So I'm just going to take the damage as they get up here. The main reason I don't like these bats is because they don't give out Ninpo Essence. Anyway, we've come a long way in this level so far, but we've got to go a little further. Fortunately, there's no clone to deal with. It's just a Fiend Challenge. Next. So I had to speed up the Fiend Challenge a little bit. But we're not going to do that quite yet. First of all, we have to put the statue on the platform over here. So I am going to engage these guys. Remember before the worm fight, I said that I was going to not leave these guys' head unsevered. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. So it looks like they're going for some strikes, and then they like to evade afterwards. So let's analyze these guys' moves here. See, he did the slash, and then these guys are burrowing themselves in the ground. See, they like to slash and do that somersault, and then hit you again really fast. See that little somersault they do in the air? And they'd love to. You also notice they back in their tracks. So if you're going for strikes, you can't hit them. That's really smart. Ooh, I was just in time to block that attack right there. Ooh, missed that guy. I hate missing charges. Ooh, nailed me again. That took off considerable damage. But I don't have the Armament of the Moon on. And I usually sacrifice health, even though it's to my possible peril. You know, if I see a piece of blue essence on the map, I immediately think charge, not heal. Let me charge an attack. But here's a room that we haven't gone to yet, and this is the only place where there's a store in this entire map. And it's a shame. It really is. But I think the worst offense in this, the worst offense that the worst offense, excuse me, there's no save point next to the boss either. That nice save point that's in Black and Sigma, it's not here. So I don't know what these people were thinking when they decided to, you know, when they're looking at their game and maybe looking at it from a final standpoint. You know, where should we put a store? Where should we put the save points? Like, did they scrutinize the game enough? You know, because this game is hard. Even on lower difficulties, people are going to struggle a lot. So they had to know their game was difficult. But I don't understand the lack of stores. I mean, it wouldn't even be a thing I considered if there weren't other iterations of this game. And things get more plentiful with each iteration of the game, undoubtedly. But I don't know, you know, why no checkpoint on bosses? You know, why no convenient stores and save points? If anyone has any thoughts, I'd be interested to hear them. Because we know this is a tough game, but why can't it be, you know, somewhat convenient and not so old school? So here's the Fiend Challenge. There's 100 of these slashers here, and this is going to be in fast forward speed somewhat, but I believe I bust out the Unlevered Flawlessness. And I like this weapon because you can just do the Izuna drop really easily. But its UT, let me say this, its ET is very ineffective, not effective whatsoever. Its UT, the diameter of its splash damage is very narrow. I mean, it's not as wide as it is in Ninja Gaiden Sigma. I think they actually widened the diameter of that circular splash damage area of effect. But the really wonderful thing about this weapon is you guard and you do the Y parry and you instantly kill enemies with this weapon. See, Y parry, it cuts their heads off and they're dead. Such a great weapon for that. On these easier enemies, just an instant kill. So what I like to do is get 1 or 2 beheadings, then jump away, get an on landing charge, go for a UT. Excuse me. But look at the see. It's not very. I'm lucky if I get 2 enemies killed with that UT. And I also have the Armlet of Benediction on here to get the most money. But sometimes this UT just robs me of getting any kills. But I can't fight with as much flexibility. If I was using the Davalacro, I just don't have the flexibility. I can't do the Izuna drop, and it's just too slow of a weapon to deal with these guys. But admittedly, its UT would take care of business much more than this weapon's UT. See, instant kill, instant kill. 2 instant kills right there. I'm going to jump away, do a UT. That's a perfect example of what I was talking about. Fortunately, I killed 2 guys right there. I'm going to go collect my essence for the most money. You see, I've got 26,000. I think by the time this trial ended, I had somewhere around like 40,000, 45,000. So you're gonna want to come back to this area and kill those pill bugs anytime you need money. And just have this armlet equipped that I have on now, the Armlet of Benediction. Make the process a little faster for yourself. And, stock up on supplies, max out all your weapons. But with these really big weapons, excuse me, my allergy medicine hasn't kicked in. With these really big weapons, they have a very strong forward attack. Now, what I'm doing there, that's not the forward attack. What I mean by the forward power technique is moving the left analog stick in the direction of the enemy and then pressing Y. These 2 weapons here, this weapon and the Davalacro, they both have that forward power technique that's very powerful. It's called a power technique. It is a little slower, but it's great if you want to focus on a strategy where you do a forward power technique and then to offset the recovery time and to shield yourself from getting attacked, you drop Nimpa right after that forward power technique. And it's a great way to deal with bosses, especially with this weapon. If you have low health, you can almost, take half of a boss's life off his health bar. But anyway, some people have asked me what do I like better, like this or the more action-oriented linear new games like Ninja Gaiden 2 and Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. I don't know. Sometimes I'm in the mood for this, and sometimes I'm in the mood for that. It's just these such quality games that I can't just say that I like one more than the other. I can't say that I detest some more than others. Namely the new ones we have, Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge, and just people always say, why are you hating on that game? And I thought I've said it enough, but maybe the right people haven't just heard it, but. I played those games back last winter when there was nothing else to play, and I never played anything except Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 and Ninja Gaiden Sigma. I hadn't played the masterpieces that are this game, Black, and Ninja Gaiden 2. So I had no frame of reference. I didn't know what was good, and I thought Razor's Edge was good, and it's not good. It's actually the worst kind of trash that you can imagine. And if that offends you, I'm sorry, but I have the right to my opinion. If you want to disagree with me, go for it in the comments. I'm not going to have an argument with you because I don't care. But if you want to escalate to an argument, that's on you then. Because these are my videos, and I'll say what I like and what I dislike. And, you know, it's no secret that people don't like Ninja Gaiden 3 and Razor's Edge. They're bad games. They're horrible games. Of course, Razor's Edge is a little less horrible, but it's still based on a shit game, and it's still shit. So we need one more Life of the Gods to get that upgrade, and there has to be more. So there is 3 sets of 9, not 2 sets. I was mistaken. You know what I think it is? On Sigma and Black, I think there's 4 sets. In this game, there's 3 sets, so I think there's 9 less in this game. So we don't have those ogres in this vicinity that we usually have here. We have these guys. And this is a big cavern area where we're going to fight that boss. But once we get that Brand of Valor up there, no save point. I mean, pretty inexcusable. But again, if I had nothing, you know, if there were no other iterations that existed, I wouldn't be complaining because this would be the only thing that I would be used to. I mean, I could still bitch about it, but then it's just that I know there's convenience in the other games where there's none here. Where this is less convenience, a lot less. You know, the further you go back, the less convenience you find. I mean, there's still a lot of inconvenience in Ninja Gaiden Sigma. Of course, there's no checkpoints on boss encounters. It's really old school. But that game, it just looks so breathtaking when you play that game. 60 frames a second, 1080p. It's just, and it's so good. I mean, you could have games that have those specs, but they don't look that good because the art style is not that good. That game's a feast for the eyes. So here's a golden scarab right here. Gonna see a little edit because I couldn't make the jump the first time. And you want to bust out your strongbow, fire an arrow into that, and we're gonna do a wall run off this. And there's 2 items up here, one of which is in this box right here, a high potion, and we also have a golden scarab hiding around one of these pillars. So after you grab the Brand of Valor and get your golden scarab, I would recommend going back to the save point, and then from that point forward, if you die on the boss, then you'll just have a save point to fall back on, and you won't have to come back up here every single time. So just get all your tasks done, and then we'll focus on defeating Pazu. Okay, here we go. Pazu. He's got no lackeys, as he rightly shouldn't, and he's this wind demon here, and he's pretty simple, but his attacks take away a lot. So if you want to use the Armlet of the Moon, as I do, for maybe halfway through the battle, I use that. Watch out for a stomp. Just guard it, and it'll break your guard, but it won't damage you, as that's the way many things work in this game. So he's going to go from one side of this arena to the next, occasionally going on the upper platforms to either just stay up there and kind of scream at you, or he'll actually do an attack. So you can't really hit him until you have... I mean, these hits that we're going to take on him right now, these little hits, they do very, very minor damage, but what we're doing here is we're hitting him with very minor attacks until he gets to the point where we can hit him with attacks that actually mean something. And it's just the way this boss works. No matter where you hit him at this point, it's just going to take little chip damage off of him. So it's just a matter of continually hitting him. I like to do the flying swallow through him, and then guard as I land, and then evade. Because the skeleton wings that he has, they have a lot of range to him. So now he goes into the hitting mode. and I like to attack his face, and I did the Azuna drop right there. But the best combo to do when he's like that, I found out, you want to do the Blade of the Dragon's Tail, which is XXYYY, that move that I've mentioned quite a bit in this guide, and then you want to follow that up with an Azuna drop, because you could do both of those combos and do maximum damage. I messed around with several things trying to test it. I did the Azuna drop, I did the Blade of the Dragon's Tail, I did the Flying Crane attack, the 360 Y attack that is, and I also did the Blade of the Dragon's Tail, and then I followed that up with an Azuna drop, and I had plenty of time to do both. So that's the best move you want to do, or both best combo set that you want to do, rather. So you just want to stay on one side of him and then fly swallow through him onto the other side, and then just always keep your guard up and just be very patient. This is a rather drawn out battle, and I apologize for having to press the select menu so many times, but I have no choice except to edit it, which takes a long time, which I don't have. I've got to leave. But anyway, since I knew he was going to give me the normal attack, the normal attacks over here, just a couple more hits, I switched to the Amulet of the Sun, and let's see what I do here. Just the Azuna drop. But you see, the Azuna drop, after you do that final hit, he comes out of it, and you can't attack him anymore. But surprisingly, he just sits there after you do the Dragon's Tail move, the Blade of the Dragon's Tail, and then lets you do an Azuna drop. So it's weird, because you should definitely start with that combo, because if you start with the Azuna drop, then he stops letting you hit him. Nimpo's pretty much ineffective here, although you'll see me throw it either to get iframes or just because I knew I had it on hand, and it's going to replenish me in the next chapter anyway, so I might as well get a couple hits off him while I can. So I'm going to go in for the Fly Swallow, keep my guard up, and watch out for when he goes to the other side of the screen, because you do have to block when he, not only when he stomps like that, but when he goes to the other side, because you'll get mauled if you don't keep your guard up. So it's likely that you'll get damaged quite a bit here, but if you always are guarding, you'll take a lot less damage. So I'm going to equip the Amulet of the Sun, and I think I have this for the rest of the battle. What do I do here? Yeah, right there was the Flying Crane, and as you can see, I could have maybe done 2 Flying Cranes, but nothing beats the Blade of the Dragon's Tail followed by the Azuna drop. And I start to do it after this, I believe. So now for the first time he's gone up on the platform where we were before, and just in case you're wondering, you cannot go up there because you see across the way the door is barred now, so there's no going in there. You've got to stick to the main fighting grounds out here. So I think a lot of the problems I used to have with this guy, and I still kind of do, is not having the patience. Although I've gotten a lot more patient over the years, because I know that this guy, you've got to just kind of go along with the program and not rush things, because he won't let you rush things. I mean, he'll give you the free shots when you've earned them by hitting him enough. So that was a very close call right there. I'm going to heal myself now. And I did not want to use a Talisman of Rebirth, because those things cost twice as much as an elixir, the high potions. So I also wouldn't recommend, if he's on an upper platform, don't stand underneath the platform he's on, because he likes to send out a dust cloud right beneath where he's at. But if you're on the opposite side, you might get a laser attack at you, so you want to drop Nimpo there, or just simply evade it if you can see where it's coming. So right there, I got a little bit greedy right there, and that's why I got punished. And got punished again right there. So keep your guard up when he lands on both feet. Now he's going to give us the free shots, and I think now I start going in for, see, there we go with that. XX, triple Y, and then he's going to drop. You get to have all the hits right there. And I think the reason he was going up, he was flying upwards when I was doing that final strike, was because I took a little longer to get over to him. You do have to adjust to the camera also when he's going into that mode, because it'll go into a different frame, and it's easy to get disoriented and find out where you are after it goes into that different frame and shifts perspective. So normally you're placed wherever you were placed before it shifts perspective, but it does shift view though, so you have to, like I said, compensate for that. So that's my last healing item that I have, except for those Talismans of Rebirth. And so XX, triple Y, XY, XXY, and he's almost dead, but he's not going to let me have the victory. So what I need to do here is just toss. See how much he has left? He has very little health left, and I know that it's going to take a while for him to give me those free shots again. So what I'm going to do is just throw some Nimpo. It doesn't work too well, but at least, I mean, it takes off a little sliver, and that's all I need to take off him right now. So I'm going to put that in there and send the Inferno his way, and he's dead. And with his death, we're going to have open before us the path to Zarkon, which is the title of the next chapter, and I will see you over there.